What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video at high demand. I have seen this request so many times in the past months, even like the past year or so, to do a revisit to Necropolis and go over some of the new best champions to use in the content. So, Necropolis is still very worth doing. Maestro is such a relevant defender and an incredibly useful attacker in like Alliance War scenarios and niche scenarios where you need those triple immunities and those passive furies. Maestro is very good. And of course, you get the guaranteed base pool selector, which can give you one of amazing characters. I mean, just to name a few: Hulk, Titania, Wiccan, Wong, Venom, Domino's in there, Bishop, Sunspot, Killmonger, Mantis, America Chavez. So many incredible characters from the base pool that are definitely worth grabbing. And with modern characters, Necropolis is a lot easier than it used to be. So obviously, if you are maybe relevant or aware of Necropolis, it's like relevant in your mind, but you maybe haven't gone back. You did a first path and you haven't touched it since. You probably used one of a few characters: Kate Bishop, Aegon, Shuri. Those were the main three, like, horsemen and women of the Necropolis. But now there are so many more characters that are phenomenal in Ever's content that will work exceptionally well on many paths. One of them being this big boy right here, Onslaught. I think Onslaught is one of the best Necropolis options in the game now. This video is not going to cover the original Necropolis options. So, like Wong, Shuri, Kate Bishop, Aegon, those characters are known to be good in Necropolis. This video is specifically going to go over other characters that are very effective in Necropolis. Onslaught being one of them. Onslaught can do just about anything in Necropolis. Most paths will have multiple fights for him. You just have to use Onslaught properly, and I think I have an Onslaught guide on the channel somewhere, but Onslaught is like far and away one of the best mutant options for Necropolis. One of the other best, if not the best, mutant option for Necropolis is Northstar. So, one tip I will say about these two champions specifically: there have been Karina challenges for the Necropolis. One of them happens to be a half mutant path going down the Sauron lane all the way to Psycho Man. Now, here's my first tip. Like I said in the title of this video, tips and tricks. One of the best things you could do, bang for your buck, especially if you have not done this path before, you can do a full mutant team all the way up to Psycho Man. That gets you the Karina challenge. And then the full mutant team can finish the path. You can go Sauron Guardian, you can go Sauron APOC. As long as you have 5 mutants on the team, you can complete a path of Necropolis while also completing a Karina challenge at the same time. All you really need is Onslaught and Northstar, but there are a lot of other great options that would make a full path even easier. Just to name a few in the mutant class specifically, because we're talking about the Karina challenge. Professor X is incredible in Necropolis, especially as a 7-star. Highly recommend using him. Mr. Sinister is another fantastic option. So right away, this 4-champion team can do basically an entire Necropolis path. I think if I were doing a path with a full mutant team going down Sauron, my 5th would most likely be Apocalypse, just because I get the benefit of having the Horseman ability right away from Mr. Sinister on the team, and I can make Professor X, Northstar, Onslaught, Sinister, any of them a Horseman, and then APOC himself will also be solid in the content. Now, let's not forget the tried and true mutant daddy Strife, Mr. Mutant Aegon with his ramp up, basically. Strife is incredible in Necropolis. You take one fight to ramp him up, and then for the rest of the quest, he is fantastic. So he's another option that would work incredibly well for Necropolis in general, and also specifically doing this mutant path for the Karina challenge and then also the full path. My recommendation would be to go down Sauron for the Karina challenge and then either Guardian or APOC. You definitely could go Silver Surfer, but it might be a little annoying. There are some tough fights on here like Storm Pyramid X that might give you a little bit of trouble with the mutant team, but Guardian and APOC are definitely possible. I think Guardian is the easier of the two, but you can definitely do APOC as well. So, Now let's move on to more general options outside of the Karina Challenge tip and trick that I just offered there. So outside of the champions I've already mentioned, Deathless Thanos and the Deathless Champions are fantastic in Necropolis. So if you're not aware, this past year there was a Deathless Chase for all of these characters. So if you followed along with the Deathless Chase, you most likely did a path in Necropolis with the Deathless Champions, and it probably went very well because they're exceptional in Necropolis. But the Deathless Champions can actually do more than one path in Necropolis. So let's say you did what most people do, myself included. I went down Titania Guardian with the Deathless Champions. No, I'm sorry, Titania APOC with the Deathless Champions. You definitely could go Titania Guardian as well, but I went Titania APOC. That was a relatively easy path, and the Deathless Champions destroyed it. The Deathless Champions can do more than just one path. You can go down Sauron, Silver Surfer, Sauron Guardian. You can even do Odin Strife, which is one of the hardest, if not the hardest path in Necropolis, with the full Deathless team, and they handle it so well. So if you have the Deathless Champions and you have not 100% Necropolis, I highly recommend running the whole team because they are so good for so many paths. They can basically do every single path except for the beginning Mr. Fantastic path. They really can't do this one because of the thorns. I guess they could if you really stretched it, but I mean, there's an Atuma on this path, and that would kind of be rough with this team. So I don't recommend going down the Mr. Fantastic lane with the Deathless team, but any other lane they could absolutely do. So there's my second big overall tip, is using the Deathless Champions more than once. So moving on from like the Karina Challenge mindset, just looking at Necropolis options in general outside of those champs I had already mentioned, just to name a few here of fantastic longer form content champions. You can throw Nick Fury. You can throw Betaray Bill. Let's talk about Betaray Bill first. So, obviously, like the new Heart of Fire champions are great, but not everybody has those, so I'm going to focus on characters that maybe are more accessible, outside of the Karina challenges that I had mentioned prior. Now we're talking about general champions for Necropolis. Betaray Bill is one of the best Necropolis champions in the game right now. So I have Betaray Bill up at rank 3 on my main account, and then I have a free-to-play account where I took Betaray Bill to rank 4 and did a Necropolis path with Betaray Bill and Onslaught, and they crushed the entire thing. Betaray Bill is so useful in Necropolis, and BMcG has some fantastic guides on how to use Betaray Bill in every piece of content, short, medium, long, and Everest, so I highly recommend checking out his channel for some Betaray Bill content. I believe he has him up at rank 4 as well. So if you want to get the full scoop on Betaray Bill, go check him out. But even at rank 3, Betaray Bill is fantastic in Everest content. All you need to do is ramp up those shocks, and once you have the max shock ramped up, all you can do is spam your medium attacks slowly. Don't spam back and forth and just rapid fire, but slowly use your medium attacks only, and then use your special one to detonate the shocks and then refresh them, and that's the entire fight. Betaray Bill can destroy Necropolis health pools in like 4 to 5 minutes. He's crazy. So much utility, so much damage, and he's really fun to play. So that combination makes for an incredible character. And if you don't have Betaray Bill, or maybe you have him but you haven't really messed with him, and you need to do Necropolis, check him out. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. So Betaray Bill is one of the front runners for just general Necropolis champions. Another fantastic champion is Serpent. Serpent has a phenomenal ramp up over time. Serpent is primarily a defender, as you probably know from Alliance War and Battlegrounds, getting bullied by him. But on offense, he's kind of a menace. So Serpent is way better in long-form content than people might know, or people might give him credit for. He builds up these call force charges, and then once you get to 16, every time you would gain another call force charge, you'll just gain a fury passive, and those fury passives stack up to 20. So once you get to like 10 or 11 of those fury passives with your call charges, and if you have him awakened, you get more attack per call charge when the opponent's against the wall. You're dealing some ridiculous damage by spamming your special 1 or going for your special 2 if you're fighting a champion with high armor. So Serpent is one of the best options for Necropolis future Ant-Man, and just in general, Serpent is a fantastic Necropolis champion. There is a Necropolis Karina challenge with the God and Worthy characters going down the Titania path and then all the way to Psycho Man. You definitely could do a path with Serpent and then another champion that I'm going to mention here, Odin. So Odin was one of the original Necropolis champions that was fantastic in the content, but just to specifically touch on the Karina challenge that's associated with the God and Worthy characters, you absolutely could do a full path with Serpent, Odin, Hulk, Juggernaut. All of those champions will definitely work for a full path of Necropolis. Serpent and Odin specifically will be carrying the team. So if you haven't done the Titania path or the Titania Guardian path, let's say you've never even done Necropolis, you have Serpent and Odin and Hulk, you can definitely do a full path Titania Guardian easy with these champions, for sure. So moving on from the cosmic monsters, we have, where is, there he is, Sentry. So Sentry is another champion that is associated with a full Karina challenge. It's just a full path in general, so the Karina challenge itself is just doing a full path. But Sentry, my goodness, is Sentry ridiculous in Necropolis. You ramp him up on one fight, just like Strife, and as long as you're playing well and you're not dying, that's kind of the caveat, is you need to play very well the Sentry, but if you do play well, Sentry is a monster. I did a full path of Necropolis with just Sentry, Onslaught, and the Mr. Fantastic Power Sting synergy for Sentry, and that was all I needed. I did it itemless. You don't need anything else with Sentry. He is ridiculous. On his own, once you ramp up to your max molecular charges, I think they're called, you are dealing unbelievable damage on your heavy attacks. And then if you don't need to use your basic attacks to fight a champion like America Chavez, Sentry applies these withers, and every time you hit the opponent in that wither mode, in the yellow mode, that's how I remember, it's just yellow for medium and light attacks, and red for heavy attacks, you're dealing burst damage, and that's scaling with your charges. So, once you're at 9 or 10 charges, Sentry just becomes this animal in Necropolis. And I actually did make a video on how to ramp up Sentry the most effective way possible, so check that out. I may just link that in the description along with the other videos that I've mentioned while I've rambled for almost 12 minutes here. So Sentry is fantastic in Necropolis, and if you have Sentry as a 7-star from like the Gifted Guardians event, or you picked him up during the Red and Dead sale, definitely consider ranking him up because he is fantastic. Other characters in that 10-year challenge, because we're already talking about it, let's just go and find the filter here. This is for the Necropolis challenge specifically. Null is another fantastic option in Necropolis. Adam Warlock as well. Photon is fantastic, and then obviously like Wong is good, but we've known that for a long time. Another decent option in Necro is Spider-Ham. This team right here for the 10-year Karina challenge would absolutely destroy Necropolis. So again, if you have not done Necropolis and you're looking to like get a bang for your buck, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, think about doing one of the full paths that I have mentioned, either the Mutant path, the Culesworthy path, or the 10-year challenge. That has to be a full path regardless. But that's 3 potential options right there, getting a bang for your buck. Brand new 3 paths. 1, 2, 3 Karina challenges. 1, 2, 3. And you're also getting the Necropolis rewards as well. So it just makes too much sense if you haven't done the content, because it is exceptionally worth it. Now, because of the Karina challenges, like I can see people getting to the Paragon Valiant level and wanting to do Necropolis because of the Karina challenges. So this is the bang for your buck way to do it. 2 birds with 1 stone on 3 to 4 paths. And if you do the Deathless team, that's 4 paths right there. It's crazy. So moving on from the 10-year challenge, we're rounding the bend here. We're not a ton of other characters to talk about. I was going to mention Dark Phoenix, and she is worth shouting out, but she's very exclusive. Not a lot of people have her, and I bet that the people who do have 7-star Dark Phoenix probably have done Necropolis, but let's say maybe you haven't done Necropolis and you have a 7-star Dark Phoenix. She is incredible for Everest content. I made a showcase video, I think a week and a half ago, with Dark Phoenix in Necropolis, doing Necropolis content, so check that out if you have not already. She is very, very good for Everest content. One more champion I want to mention is Enchantress. So Enchantress has an incredibly long ramp up. She is another champion that is on the calls worthy Necropolis path where you could do a full path. So if you run Serpent, Odin, Enchantress, you could easily do a full path. But just in general, Enchantress is another fantastic Necropolis champion. She has an incredibly long ramp up, but once you do ramp up with Enchantress, you get like 4 of each spell. You're basically immortal. You're healing, your specials are dealing guaranteed crits, and you're dealing massive burst damage. So Enchantress is just, I don't want to say simple and effective because she is far from simple. But if you learn how to play Enchantress properly, and Campo MCOC has a fantastic video on how to use Enchantress, so I highly recommend checking his video out to learn how to properly use Enchantress. If you're looking for a Necropolis option and you just happen to have Enchantress, she is fantastic. So highly recommend Enchantress. Let's see, is there anybody that I have failed to mention at this point? Silver Sable is a good shout for long form content. I wouldn't say she's the best Necropolis champion, but she does definitely work for longer form content. And then Lumitrix as well. Lumitrix is a very new character, but he ramps up super fast, and you get those guaranteed crits from the cunning charges with those big fury passives from the special 2. And I've seen some great content on Lumitrix at rank 3 and rank 4 in Necropolis, just tearing it up. So Lumitrix in Necropolis, underrated option for sure, but he definitely works. I don't know if he's the most versatile Necropolis option, but he's a champion that if you pick him up, he will definitely be useful. And then after that, there's only 1 or 2 champions left to talk about. One of them I just scrolled past is Purgatory. Now, Purgatory was another character that got buffed with the Gifted Guardians, and Purgatory will actually work on another Necropolis Arena challenge, the Dimensional Being Challenge. She's pretty good on that path. I don't recommend doing a full path with that team. Just the half path is fine, so maybe save that until you're done with Necropolis in general. But Purgatory is exceptionally good in Necropolis, spamming those special 3s, using that special 1 to heal. Just simple and effective, incredibly good. Another character I definitely need to shout out for the lower half of Necropolis, where you go fight that Spider-Man 2099, is Chilth. So, Chilth is a fantastic long-form content champion, one of, if not the best options for Spider-Man 2099 in Necropolis. She's got the cleanse, she deals bleed, which is direct damage, and she can block until the cows come home because of that special block ability that she has, reducing the opponent's attack rating. So Chilth, not only is she amazing for Spider-Man, but she's also just a general Necropolis beast. Spamming that heavy attack and that special 1, ideally you go for 1 special 3 in each fight, because if you look at Chilth's special 3 here, you can only activate it 1 time, but it gives you a 35% vicious passive. That is a significant increase to your damage over time. So you use Chilth, 1 special 3, and then heavy spam special 1. A lot of Necropolis fights are going to fall to her axe because, yeah, she's a beast. She's an absolute beast in Necropolis. So outside of that, I think I'm kind of out of characters to talk about. So just in summary, Onslaught, Professor X, Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse, fantastic in Necropolis. You can use that team to get the Mutant Path Arena Challenge done while also doing a full path at the same time. Additionally, Calls Worthy with Serpent, Odin, Enchantress, Hulk, Juggernaut. That's another team that you can do a full path with, including the Arena Challenge. The 10-year challenge. The 10-year Arena Challenge, which is specifically a full path. Ideally, you use Wong because he's probably the best option, but Sentry is a phenomenal champion that just got buffed in the Gifted Guardians back in December, and he's fantastic in Necropolis. You want to use Sentry, Null, Spider-Ham, Photon, Ironheart, Adam Warlock, Gamora. So many great options. Forgot to even mention Adam Warlock. He's fantastic in Necropolis. So many great options in the new day and age of MCOC that will get you through a full path, and also that full path, if you haven't done that path, is a Arena Challenge in and of itself. Obviously, mentioned at the beginning, the full Deathless team. If you have the Deathless Champions, you've done 1 path in Necropolis, but you need to do more. The Deathless Champions work on almost every single path. So make sure, if you haven't done Necropolis, but you have the Deathless Champions, maybe check out some other paths and see how incredibly fun it can be to use the full Deathless team in Necropolis in general, because they work very, very well. Worth shouting out Dark Phoenix, like I mentioned earlier. Not a lot of people have her, but if you haven't done Necro and you have Dark Phoenix, she's very good in the content. Regular Phoenix as well. She is a newer character who is pretty good in long form content. So Regular Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, both very good. And then, lastly, just to mention some single champions, Betaray Bill, absolutely incredible. Lumitrix, very solid, incredibly underrated. Purgatory is fantastic as well. I already mentioned Century, and if I forgot anybody, I said it earlier in the video. Yeah, I think that is it. I think that is it for the overview of Necropolis. So that is a 2025 rendition of my best champions and tips and tricks for Necropolis in 2025. I definitely think the content is worth doing, and if you have the champions that I've mentioned, you can do some bang for your buck, 2-for-1 Necropolis Karina challenges and full paths. But if you don't have any of those champions, but you want to do the Karina challenges, there's a little revisit for the Karina challenges and the best champions to use for some of those. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I really hope that you did. Please consider subscribing and also hitting that like button. Again, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.